Japan is undertaking a massive and historic transformation of its defense capabilities that observers say will effectively cut off China's potential maritime bridges to Taiwan. An 80-year-old defense doctrine, previously characterized by a reactive defense shield, is being replaced by what is described as a sharp strategic spear capable of directly striking the Chinese mainland. This major overhaul is seeing Japan's southwestern islands transforming to what military analysts are calling a massive missile constellation. These comprehensive moves involve a range of advanced technologies, from Type 25 hypersonic missiles to sophisticated kamikaze drones, and encompass fortifications extending to the Pacific front. Crucially, this strategy also includes deep military and economic alliances stretching to Europe and Ukraine. Collectively, these actions are fundamentally shaking up China's regional calculations and its ambitions for hegemony. A palpable tension has emerged in the region as a result of these strategic changes, particularly highlighted by the growing anger in statements coming from President Xi Jinping's administration. This diplomatic fury is viewed as a demonstration of the effectiveness of the strategy championed by Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi, sometimes referred to as the Iron Lady. Takaichi's overarching approach is to build a stronger Japanese economy and to utilize foreign and security policy to protect Japan's distinct national interests. This transformation is now permanently rewriting the future of Asia by severing the maritime transit corridors around Taiwan, using this newly forged Japanese spear. The strategy shifted into high gear on March 31, 2026, when Japan officially deployed Type 25 surface-to-ship missiles to Camp Kengun, located in Kumamoto. This pivotal move established a concrete deterrence line that directly threatens the Chinese mainland. The deployment activates Japan's capability to remotely thwart potential Chinese amphibious operations within the East China Sea, leveraging a significant operational range of 1,000 kilometers. Simultaneously, Type 25 hypervelocity gliding projectiles were deployed to Camp Fuji in Shizuoka. These advanced weapon systems carry the distinct potential to bypass China's existing air defense systems due to their hypersonic velocity. Furthermore, military analysts indicate that in future variants, these Type 25 systems could reach an expanded operational range of 2,000 to 3,000 kilometers, enabling them to directly strike Chinese logistics lines situated around Taiwan. The immediate consequence of these deployments is that any future plans by Beijing to encircle Taiwan must now take into account a formidable barrage of missiles originating directly from Japan's fortified southwestern bases. This marks the first time that China's long-term ambitions for regional hegemony have encountered such a tangible and potent obstacle. This strategic turning point effectively blocks vital maritime corridors in the Taiwan Strait. The extensive rollout of Type 25 missiles is not the only offensive capability being established. Japan has also acquired 400 Tomahawk cruise missiles from the United States, which are currently being integrated into Aegis destroyers within the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force. This critical integration process on the vessel JS Chokai was completed in March 2026. Consequently, Japan has officially gained a potent sea-based counter-strike capability with an operational range of 1,600 kilometers. This entire array of new and formidable systems is coordinated under a newly established Joint Operations Command, utilizing the integrated operations of Japanese land, sea, and air forces. Targeting precision is further maximized through the provision of real-time intelligence from the United States. To truly grasp the comprehensive scope and implications of this new Japanese strategy, a critical understanding of the specific geography where these massive missile systems have deployed is necessary. The Nansei Island chain, also known as the Ryukyu Islands, stretches along the East China Sea of the southwest coast of Japan, with its terminus located less than 70 miles from Taiwan. Strategic islands within this chain, such as Yonaguni, Ishigaki, and Miyako, control key geographic choke points that would be vital in any scenario where China seeks to encircle or initiate an invasion of Taiwan. In current naval operations, for Chinese warships to successfully exit the first island chain, they must traverse narrow waterways, with the Miyako Strait being a primary route. Those vital waterways are now firmly within the direct range of highly capable Japanese missile batteries. While the process of fortifying these islands actually began a decade ago, it gained dramatic and unprecedented momentum in 2026. Yonaguni Island, located just 110 kilometers from Taiwan, hosted no military units as recently as 2016. Today, however, it houses a crucial coastal observation unit, sophisticated electronic warfare teams, and is scheduled to host air defense missiles in the near future. A significant catalyst for this escalation was an incident in 2022 when a Chinese missile landed near Yonaguni during Beijing's extensive military exercises around Taiwan. This event significantly pushed Tokyo toward a more proactive fortification strategy. Electronic jamming systems, specifically designed to disrupt enemy communications networks, are currently being installed on Yonaguni, marking the establishment of Japan's first specialized base in this field. Furthermore, modern missile batteries, Patriot air defense systems, and modernized radar networks have already been deployed on Ishigaki and Miyako. These deployments mean that more than 10,000 Japanese military personnel are now stationed in the strategically vital southwest region. The resulting military reality is that Chinese war planners, considering sending naval vessels to the north or east of Taiwan, must now factor in not only Taiwanese and US weapons systems, but also highly capable Japanese missile batteries. Japan's ongoing military transformation is not limited to conventional missile systems. Strategic planners in Tokyo are actively drawing critical lessons from modern conflicts, particularly the wars in Ukraine and the Middle East, to reshape their overall strategic thinking. According to detailed reports published by the Yomiuri Shimbun and Kyodo News on April 1, 2026, which cited government sources, Japan is now prioritizing the accelerated development of kamikaze unmanned aerial vehicles, also known as loitering munitions, with a projected range exceeding 1,000 kilometers. The underlying strategy is based on a low-cost model where swarms of drones are used to neutralize enemy air defenses, followed by long-range missile strikes targeting specific enemy missile launch sites. Military analysts view this as an Asia-Pacific version of the integrated attack model that Ukraine has successfully employed against Russian forces. Furthermore, new generation unmanned systems designed to operate both on and below the water surface, launched from submarines and aircraft, are also currently being evaluated by Japanese defense experts. This entire approach is directly inspired by Ukraine's highly effective use of naval drones to paralyze the Russian Navy in the Black Sea. This tactical shift is also supported by direct, concrete cooperation between Japan and Ukraine. For instance, in March 2026, the Japanese drone company TerraDrone made a significant investment in Kharkiv, serving as a concrete example of the transfer of valuable combat experience. There is growing speculation that if low-cost interceptor drones developed by Ukraine begin mass production within Japan, a new and potent asymmetric defense layer could emerge that would effectively deplete China's expensive missile stockpiles. In essence, Tokyo is actively learning from Ukraine's intense frontline experience, while Ukraine, in turn, is benefiting from Japan's advanced semiconductor technology and manufacturing prowess. This mutual synergy creates a new strategic reality where China faces a distinctly different threat profile on both the European and Asia-Pacific fronts simultaneously. Japan's strategic transformation, however, is not limited geographically to the Asia-Pacific. A new alliance network established with European powers adds a distinct global dimension to this geopolitical shift. A defense roadmap signed during French President Emmanuel Macron's state visit to Tokyo in early April 2026 established a direct military bridge between Japan and Europe. Discussions surrounding a reciprocal access agreement are underway, which will facilitate joint exercises and port visits between the respective militaries. Furthermore, space defense data sharing has been significantly deepened between the two nations. This comprehensive agreement demonstrates a clear and strong resolve in Europe to stand shoulder to shoulder with Japan against China's growing ambitions across the Indo-Pacific region. Perhaps the most significant and long-term strategic dimension of this new Euro-Japanese cooperation is economic. The formal roadmap regarding rare earth elements signed between Japan and France has the explicit aim of breaking global dependence on critical minerals, a sector where China currently controls roughly 70% of global production. The Kermag refinery project in France is a central element of this plan, set to meet 20% of Japan's heavy rare earth needs. This is widely viewed as a direct and strategic move to sever the critical defense industry supply chain from Chinese control. Beijing has previously and overtly used rare earth exports as a tool for political pressure during periods of acute diplomatic tension, and this agreement is structured specifically to make such economic blackmail significantly more difficult. When read and analyzed within this broader framework, President Macron's recent manifesto delivered in Seoul, where he declared, "We will not be vassals of two hegemonic powers," clarifies Japan's international position. Tokyo is not merely operating under the United States Pacific umbrella, but is actively diversifying its alliance network by establishing a direct strategic partnership with major European powers. For its part, China has characterized these multifaceted developments as an anti-China front. This sharp reaction can be interpreted as a reflection of the significant unease these strategic moves have caused in Beijing. Observers note that Beijing's hostile reaction to each new Japanese strategic move may serve as an effective indicator of how impactful Tokyo's strategy is. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning formally characterized Japan's missile deployment as a step that far exceeds the scope of legitimate self-defense and exclusive defense. The PLA Daily, the flagship newspaper of the Chinese military, has also addressed the issue, describing the new Type 12 missile capability as one that is clearly intended for attack rather than defense, and specifically noting that Japan is establishing a multi-layered attack network. China's response to these shifts is not merely diplomatic, but also military. Immediately following Japan's formal missile deployment, a Chinese naval fleet entered the Sea of Japan. Analysts view this as a reflexive move, suggesting that Tokyo's actions have already directly impacted Beijing's operational planning. Spokesperson Mao also brought up a specific incident from last month, in which a Japanese self-defense force officer allegedly attempted to enter the Chinese embassy in Tokyo while armed with a knife. Mao argued that instead of seriously addressing the lack of oversight and control over the self-defense forces, Japan is preoccupied with exaggerating external threats and accelerating its military buildup, labeling this trend as extremely dangerous. Beijing is clearly attempting to link even Japan's internal security issues to criticism of its military expansion, a sign of just how sensitive this issue is within China. When evaluating all these strategic moves as a whole, the broader picture that emerges points to the balance of power in the Taiwan Strait being quietly but fundamentally rewritten. Former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's iconic statement that a Taiwan crisis is a Japan crisis has now effectively been adopted as official policy in Tokyo. The current Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi, has explicitly stated that Japan could become involved in a conflict if China attempts to forcibly seize Taiwan by military means. Former National Security Advisor Nagashima put the situation in clear terms, arguing that if Taiwan falls under Beijing's control, the very foundations of Japan's national security will be shattered, effectively shifting Japan's defensive border from Shanghai to Taipei. In this broader context, Japan's new strategy is defined by defense experts as defense through denial. While Japan is unable to compete directly with China in terms of sheer numbers, The strategic goal is to raise the cost of launching an attack so high that Beijing realizes it will not receive a return on its investment. According to military expert Ken Jimbo, Tokyo is signaling to Beijing that it would be extremely costly for Chinese naval ships to utilize narrow waterways like the Miyako Strait in any conflict scenario. In summary, Japan is quietly but definitively abandoning its 80-year-old defense doctrine. The southwestern islands are no longer merely passive coastal observation points. Instead, they are becoming a sharp spear, equipped with missile batteries capable of reaching the Chinese mainland, hypersonic weapons, sophisticated electronic warfare systems, and dedicated amphibious assault units. A 360-degree defense network is being established on the Pacific front. Asymmetric warfare capabilities are being rapidly built using advanced kamikaze drones and low-cost missiles, directly leveraging combat lessons from Ukraine. Military and economic alliances with Europe, particularly France, are breaking China's long-standing supply chain hegemony over critical minerals. Drone technology and invaluable combat experience are being directly shared with Ukraine, while Japanese semiconductor technology flows in the opposite direction. Furthermore, deeply integrated exercises with the United States and the Philippines are actively narrowing the transit corridors around Taiwan. China's predictable and angry reactions, accusations of neo-militarism, claims of constitutional violations, and charges of provocation may confirm the overall effectiveness of this new Japanese strategy. Beijing is deeply disturbed by these moves because each one significantly increases the cost of any operation to seize Taiwan and narrows its room for operational maneuver. The PLA Daily's open acknowledgement that Japan has established a multi-layered attack network demonstrates how seriously China takes this transformation. While Japan's transition from shield to spear is not yet complete and is still in its early stages, the first counter-strike missiles deployed on March 31, 2026 are a concrete and undeniable sign that an 80-year era has come to a close, and that the power balance in the Asia-Pacific is being aggressively rewritten. In this rewriting of regional power dynamics, the maritime bridges around Taiwan are being severed, step by step, by Japan's newly forged spear.